With me here on set now is Alastair Campbell, perhaps best known as former British Prime Minister Tony Blair's press secretary. More recently, he, along with Tony Blair, have campaigned for a second referendum on the deal over Brexit, saying it should also be put to the British people. Thanks very much for being with us today. First of all, let's talk about Theresa May. Going back to Europe, some would say cap in hand again, trying to get an extension to Brexit. I mean, it's a bit embarrassing for the UK, isn't it? I mean, it just keeps going on and on and on. We are, after all, the UK is, after all, one of the biggest economies in the world.
I know, and it is extraordinary, I think, to most people right around the world, and this is being followed right around the world, that our politics, which is meant to be among the most respected, among the most pragmatic, and that we're in this complete and total mess. And I think that on the options that you put out there, I do think she'll go through the motions of asking for this short extension, and they'll make it clear that she can't have that, because all she would use that for is to keep trying to manage these warring factions within the Conservative Party and the Conservative cabinet. So I think there will be a long extension. I think that's a good thing. I think it does open the door to greater period for reflection, a process that hopefully will lead to a second referendum and give people the chance to say, based on everything you now know about Brexit, as opposed to the lies that were told in 2016, do you want to carry on?
Hang on just a moment, though, because we've had, let's face it, almost everyone would agree with at least 3 months, if not 2-3 years now, of pretty chaotic scenes in the UK. Surely if you have a second referendum, which is what you're advocating, doesn't that make that chaos just even worse?
I think for a while, possibly. But I think surely, I mean, one of the arguments that the Brexit people are putting is that, you know, democracy means you have to do what the people said on June the 23rd, 2016. But what we've seen, the chaos that you're describing, is what that means in practice and how hard it is. And of course, the public, there's no point denying this, the public were sold a lie. The big lie was that this could be done without pain, without cost. We could have our cake and eat it. We could keep all the same benefits of being inside the single market while being out. It's a nonsense.
But there are a lot of people who voted for it, though, who will say, I don't actually care about all of that.
That is true.
I just want to get out of Europe. I voted for it. We voted for it. It was a democratic decision. It should be followed through.
I agree. There are lots of people who think that. But I think what you're seeing in Parliament is MPs and ministers, those who are honest with the British people, are saying and making clear that looking into it, fine, but understand we cannot do this without there being a big impact upon your lives that may be very, very negative. Now, that's a big thing for an MP to do, to vote for something saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to vote for it because you voted for it 3 years ago, but I know it's going to make you poorer. That's a big thing to do. So I think actually that is the reason why it's democratic to have another vote, to say to people, OK, that's what you voted for in theory. Here's the practice. Do you want to proceed? Now, I cannot for the life of me see how that's anti-democratic.
Talking about the practice, at the same time as all this is going on here in Europe, we've also got Labour, of course, the party that you were very much part of, talking to the Conservatives at the moment, Jeremy Corbyn. Is that going to go anywhere?
No, I don't believe it will. And I don't, to be honest, I'm not sure it ever was going to. I think if it was a serious piece of grown-up government trying to get to the right place with the help of the opposition parties, she wouldn't have announced it on television without even talking to Jeremy Corbyn. And my sense of the talks on both sides is that they're going nowhere. So we'll see, but I suspect that is going absolutely nowhere. And I think what's important is for the European leaders who are meeting in Brussels, I think all they hear from our media, I suspect from their ambassadors, and certainly from the government, all they hear is Brexit has to happen, and public opinion hasn't changed. Public opinion is changing fast.
It's changing a little bit, not that much, though, if you look at the reviews.
I think if you look at the... Well, I mean, the polls you can... In the end, politics is not just about polling, it's about what people feel, and it's about the sense you have of a country. And look, I go around the UK the whole time, and I'm not pretending there aren't people, there are, who will say to you, what the hell are you lot doing? Just get on with it, just get it done. But you meet so many more people who are saying, I'm really worried about this. We did a rally yesterday in London for the People's Vote campaign. And the whole theme was about people who have changed their minds. And we interviewed people on stage who voted leave and are now saying, do you know what, I didn't realise this is what it was going to be. I didn't realise it was such a mess. I didn't realise this was going to damage me so much. I want another say. A
lot of focus, of course, has been on the Conservative Party here. But let's face it, Labour are equally split. You want a people's vote. You've been trying to get, and a lot of your colleagues who are in Parliament now have been trying to get Jeremy Corbyn to go for that. He hasn't, has he? I mean, he's for Brexit as well, isn't he?
Well, certainly the Labour Party policy, if Jeremy Corbyn would actually stand up and fight for the Labour Party policy, which is this. They said that there were tests that had to be met by Theresa May's deal. If they weren't met, they voted it down. Fair enough, they've done that. Then they would try to get a general election. They haven't got that. Then the policy is that they will campaign for a people's vote.
So why are they not doing it?
Well, within the Labour Party, most of the members are, most of the MPs are, and I think Jeremy Corbyn, historically very Eurosceptic, that's true, but I think he's moving. I think, look, John McDonnell, the Shadow Chancellor...
Very slowly.
He may be slow, but listen, this is a slow and, as you say, chaotic process. But ultimately, leadership, what they can... Betty Boothroyd, you know, the former Speaker of the House of Commons, she's in her 90th year. She made a speech at this rally yesterday, and she talked about the lack of leadership in the country. The reason why 1 million people take to the streets to demand something, because they don't see the leadership. Now, the leadership, if it has to follow, fine. But I absolutely, honestly believe that is where it's going to end up.
We shall see. Probably with another stage later on tonight. Alastair Campbell, thanks very much for being with us.
Thank you.